Hi everybody and welcome to our 1.5 support video. So for today we're going to be taking a look at some absolute value inequalities. So a couple things I want to note. I know it's been a minute, but 1.2 support video is going to be huge in this one. If you can't solve an absolute value equation, you're going to have a really hard time solving an absolute value inequality. So a lot of the things that we're going to do in this video kind of use 1.2 as a support, as a baseline. So what I would say is if what we jump into on step one here, if that's overwhelming or you're not at a good place for it, I would say take a back look in Canvas, pop into that 1.2 section of the module and review some of the notes there, review some of the videos there, and that might help you kind of get started. But if you're ready to jump in, here's our 1.5 video. So we'll take something pretty similar to what we see just with different numbers in question one, for example. So like we'll do 7x is less than or equal to 28, something like this. So just like in that 1.2 video, as long as on its own side of the inequality, the absolute value is the only thing that's there, which in this case it is, it's just that absolute value of 7x, that means that we can jump into our positive and into our negative side. So positive side, nothing is changed here, so we're just going to have 7x less than or equal to 28. But on the negative side, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. So not only are we going to distribute a negative to one side of this equation, when we do so, if we multiply an inequality by a negative on one side, we're going to see that the inequality itself actually flips. So instead of having less than or equal to, the sign flips to greater than or equal to now. So the 28 stays the same. It stays exactly as it is. Signs don't change for 28. It's exactly the same. We just have a negative introduced on one side, and when we introduce that negative, I like to put a little star, so that way I don't forget. Introducing a negative means that we are going to need to flip our inequality sign. So as a result of this, we can just go through, solve like we normally would, and we'll get two different answers that we can graph. So divide both sides by 7, and we'll get x is less than or equal to 4. Here we have negative 7x and 28. So we'll divide both sides by negative 7, and here we'll get x is greater than or equal to negative 4. So 28 divided by negative 7 gets us negative 4. Okay, so now that we have these two things, we can jump over to our number line here, and we'll see the two numbers that we're working with are negative 4 and positive 4. Starting off with negative 4, we see that we have an equal sign underneath, so we can have a nice shaded dot. Jumping over to positive 4, again, an equal sign underneath, so we have a nice shaded dot. Secondly, if we take a look at, we'll start with negative 4 because it's on the left. Our little alligator friend, he is eating the x. He is eating our variable. So whenever we eat a variable, what that means is we go to the right. Greater than is to the right. Over here, our little alligator friend is not eating our variable. So that means that we are going to go to the left. So in this example, again, we've seen this a couple of times, this unit, two arrows come together. So when two arrows come together, all that means is we are just taking this and we have a nice unified solid line here. So we have two shaded circles. So we're going to have two brackets. Our number on the left is negative 4. Our number on the right is positive 4. So our final interval notation is x is between negative 4 and positive 4. So that would be our final answer. So a lot of the concepts in this you're going to see really similar. If you're having a hard time either graphing or translating a graph to interval notation, I would strongly suggest taking a look through 1.4 and 1.3. The only new concept that we're introducing here is we are combining our absolute value solving with taking a look at number lines at the same time. So inequality is absolute value at the same time is the new skill. I would say the most commonly mistaken thing here that's going to throw you for a loop is knowing when we flip our sign. So our inequality sign flips when we are multiplying both sides by a negative, and in this case we see our inequality sign flips on the negative side of our absolute value as well. So a couple of things to look out for there, but as long as you are careful, you have good notes, you use the supports that you have, you're going to be in great shape for this assignment.